Morning, everyone. We are live and alive on today, Tuesday, the 25th of March. Ooh, it's almost April. It's almost going to be warm. We love that. Yeah, we're back. And we're going to be looking at some more Tarkir Dragonstorm. Oh, I finally got the name right. Love that. Some more Tarkir Dragonstorm Spoilers. So there's a bunch yesterday, and there was some from Friday that we didn't do. There wasn't really enough to do a whole episode yesterday. But yeah, some very cool cards. We also have the Sultai Commander deck to go over, which I'm very hyped for. So let's jump in. What do we have first? Lassard Prowler. Is he Welsh? Is she Welsh? 2 green, 5/5 creature Snake Ranger. Okay, we love the stats. This is our green beef from the set. When it enters, you may mill cards equal to the number of lands you control. Okay, we're going Sultai with this. We love that. Renew for 1 and a green. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put X+++ counters on target creature. Where X is the number of lands cards in your graveyard. Activate only as a sorcery. This is pretty fun. So this is definitely kind of like it's in the self-mill Sultai arena, but kind of like there's so many of those cards now. You do kind of need to pick how your deck is going to function. Now, like a lot of those decks, kind of, it's not just number of cards in your graveyard. It's number of lands in your graveyard, number of creatures, or it can be like the Tarmogoyf, you're picking different type of stuff. So this is probably more in the landy style of self-mill, like in the decks where you're trying to bring all your lands back into play in one big go, probably a bunch of landfall triggers. That seems pretty fun. But this is going to be really solid in just any deck that's self-milling that has a commander with some kind of evasion. Like, I'm reading the renewability of just one and a green is very cheap. Exile this from your graveyard, and if you've milled a bunch of stuff, you could be putting maybe up to 20 +1 counters on target creature you control. If you put that on an evasive commander, take a player out of the game, I'm kind of up for like this is kind of like a sneaky backup win condition, basically. Like, I mean, say, like, I think we saw it in the it's in the commander deck, but to an extent, if you're in a self-mill deck, actually with just this and wonder in your deck, give it flying, give your creatures flying, give your commander flying. This Welsh beauty and wonder is a win con. That seems pretty fun. All right, let's move on. Dragonfire Blade, single mana for an artifact equipment like that. A quick creature gets +2/+2 and is hexproof from monocolored. Equip 4, and this ability costs 1 to activate for each color of the creature it targets. This is fine. So, I guess the joke or the gimmick with this is that it costs a single mana if it's targeting a 3-color creature, which is nice. So my throat is still waking up this morning. More tea, that always helps. Yeah, the gimmick with this is that it costs 1 mana to target a 3-color creature. So it's always gonna cost 3 if it's targeting a monocolored creature. Good morning, BC. Love to see you. Hello, MTG Godzilla. Nice to see you too. Yeah. So with this, you're never running this in a colorless deck, in an artifact deck. And then it's equip 4. Equip 3 is way too much. Equip 2 is fine, and equip 1 is great. I think this probably seems like one that's a house in limited. I don't think it gets there for commander just because it's not big enough. Like it protecting your creatures from like Path to Exile and Doomblades is quite nice. Maybe in a very multicolored cube I could see this. I'm trying to think like I have a very multicolored cube and I'm wondering if I would run this, and I don't think I would. Might just be one for limited for this. Maybe standard if there's like if there's an like I know in original standard. Oh, sorry, when Tarkir came around the first time, there was like the Siege Rhinos and Mantis Rider decks. If those kind of things exist again, then maybe this will get in as like it could drive standard to being like playing 2 color switch removal if those cards are really good. But hey, all right, we have another rare Wind Crag Siege. 1 and a Boros enchantment. As it enters, choose Mardu or Jeskai. Mardu, if a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of opponent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Jeskai, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. So the Jeskai on this is just bad. Yeah, the Jeskai part's 3 mana for a Rebel Master that doesn't attack. That's just bad. But the Mardu part is very good in Commander. Again, if we're doing... A bunch of the stuff in this set is just for the Ishin Commander deck. Ishin's the one that double up. I wonder if the wording is probably identical. Ishin, Bearer of Two Heavens. That's not how you spell... Not how you spell the lad's name, apparently. Bearer of Two... This is what's probably going to be spelled wrong, because it's early. It's the one that doubles up your attacking triggers. It's a Mardu Commander. This just looks to be the exact same wording. So, this seems good there if you're building that kind of deck. Alright. Let's look at some fun ones. So, Stormshrieker Feral. So, we might skip over some of the just bulk commons and uncommons, but this one I think is sweet. Specifically for like things like Cube, like Pauper Cube, like Cubes want this ability. They want a bit of rummaging, a bit of card filtering in red. It's just a thing that they want. Also, if you're doing things like Madness, which you can do in Pauper and Peasant, then it kind of goes up in value. Like, oh, this into a Root Waller, love to see it. But then the fact that you also have a real Magic card attached to it as well. Like, yes, with the Omens, you do have to shuffle it back in, so you can't double dip like you can with Adventures. But this is it means that both half of this cards are stronger, and that's just going to be really good. I think, like, 5 mana for a 3/3 Flying Haste is not the most broken card in Pauper, especially after Modern Horizon sets. But this will end games. Like, early game, this is the perfect split card for Pauper anyway. You will do this in the first 2 to 4 turns of the game. You will do this from turn 5 onwards, and then you can pump all your mana into it. Very solid card. Excited to see. I really like Omen. I think Omen's a great mechanic. Alright, Glacial Dragon Hunt is it? Sorcery, draw a card, you may discard a card. When you discard an online card this way, Glacial Dragon Hunt deals 3 damage to target creature, and Harmonize for 4, and an is it. As a reminder, that's you may cast this card from your graveyard for its Harmonize cost. You may tap a creature you control to reduce its cost by X, where X is its power. Then exile this spell. This is fine. Cheap bit of removal. I'm not super... This is fine. It's just kind of... It does a little bit of everything. This is like... It's a signpost uncommon. It's telling you that is it... like any is it deck in this... So Teema and Jeskai is wanting to loot and deal some damage. That's pretty straightforward. Ooh. A rare, you say? Scavenger Regent. 3 and a black... Creature, dragon, flying, ward, 4/4 discard a card. So that by itself is a perfectly fine Magic card. We would have been excited by that in original Tarkir. But it gets better. We have an Omen, Exude Toxin, X black, sorcery, Omen. Each non-dragon creature gets -X until end of turn. That's really good. This is just a really good and efficient and strong Magic card. Like, both of those sides are fine. Like, yes, this is technically not as good as the 5 mana destroy target or destroy all non-dragons or destroy all dragons. But it comes on a dragon. Like, I think last time I spoke about this, one of the main issues with dragon decks is that dragons are expensive. You can't run as many of them in your deck. This set is just giving you so many utility pieces. This is now a board wipe that those dragon decks want to run while being a dragon. So if you're trying to end the game and you just need more dragons on the board, or just early, you need to stabilize and put something down, you have a very 4 mana 4/4 flyer with ward, discard a card. That's really good. Damn, I am enjoying this set. Right, Revival of Ancestors is 1 and an Abzan. Enchantment Saga. Chapter 1, create 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens. So 4 mana, make 3 tokens. Fine. Of course, 3 colours is pretty tricky, but... Distribute 3+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 type creatures you control, so they become 2/2s, like that. And then creatures you control gain trample and lifelink until end of turn. Okay, that's pretty strong. This one doesn't... So there are decks that in Commander where they're kind of built around moving the counters off of these, but those tend to be in blue, so this probably doesn't get in that. Like, just the ability to make 3/1/1s every turn, or put counters on everything every turn, it could be pretty strong. But generally, I'm just seeing this as like a win con in Limited. In Limited, this seems busted. Just, you don't play this on turn 4, like, this comes down late, depending on the speed of the format, this just comes down, builds you a board state and wins you the game. Seems very good in Limited, not sure where it goes anywhere else. What do you do? Teamer, tourney back when it enters, draw a card, discard a card. Fine. I mean, actually pretty good in, like, the fact that it's in green as well. So in Limited, if this was in like a Porpecube, for example, this could just go in a green deck. It's pretty good. Alright, this card I think could make a splash. Songcrafter Mage. It is a teamer for a 3/2 creature human bard with flash, and when it enters, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains harmonize until end of turn. Its harmonize cost is equal to its mana cost. So again, that means you can cast that card from your graveyard for its harmonize cost. You may tap a creature you control to reduce that cost up by X. So basically, this is Snapcaster Mage. Harmonize and flashback are effectively the same. The difference is that this has cost reduction. I'm not sure because there isn't. I'm assuming that because it's you may tap. It's not an ability; it's part of the spell resolving. So I would assume it's kind of like vehicle where you can tap creatures that aren't summoning sick. So if this is a Snapcaster Mage with flashback, so it's a Snapcaster Mage that's harder to cast because it's 3 colors. I admit that, but if this is reducing the cost of the spell in your graveyard by 3, then that's very strong. Like, this is more for Commander, obviously, than for things like Standard, Modern, and Limited. Like this is going to be the main issue like with this card in Cube is just casting it in the first place. If you cast it, I think it's very strong because like Snapcaster Mage is great at kind of the line in Modern was Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt. That kind of thing. This isn't for that. This is for like bigger spells, I'm guessing, because of that. This is like big cube. Like with this, I feel the urge to like I'm holding up to like dig through time twice, or Mystic Confluence someone twice, that kind of thing. I think that's where Songcrafter Mage is better, and it being in 3 color makes sense because you're not casting this on turn 3 realistically. Maybe in Canadian Highlander you will, that kind of stuff. This card seemed great. I'm probably going to add this in my. This is a card for my 3 color cube. It's a very cool ability and it's very strong. And I have a spells deck in there. This seems great. Hoping this card isn't super expensive because hoping to pick one of these up. That seems awesome. All right. Nature's Rhythm. X, green, search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle, and harmonize X, green. So you can do it from the graveyard and you can tap stuff to reduce the cost. This is fine. So the issue with this in, like, so if you open this in Commander and you need a green tutor, run it. It'll be very good. The issue with this in Commander is it's competing against Finale of Devastation, which I think Finale's better just because this searches library and graveyard, and if you just have 10 or more mana, 12 or more mana, which is a lot, but if you're doing the channel thing or if you're doing a big ramp deck, this is better in Cube for that because this just will win you the game by itself. Or if you have some other creatures, obviously, but like it will win you the game immediately. Whereas this is, in theory, less good as that. Also, like just comparing it to Green Sun Zenith, for example. But this is better in like this goes up obviously if you're doing stuff in the graveyard, because you can like this is kind of if Animate Dead and Reanimate is Finale. Actually, no, sorry. I guess it would be if we're getting really really technical about this. Natural Order is Reanimate. Finale is Animate Dead, like a slower one, or maybe this is like Necromancy, Recurring Nightmare. This is more Dread Return. It's one that's technically not as powerful, but you run it because you can cast it from your graveyard. The 4 green is really a cost. Like there is a world in like maybe in like Canlander or Commander, because this in theory, like for the first one, tutors up 1 combo. Like this is 2 tutors on 1 card, which is nice, and that is strong. So you can get both your bits of like it's very mana intensive, but just getting 2 bits of your combo with this, that's probably quite strong. So for Canlander and for more spikier Commander players, this getting 2 parts of your combo could be pretty strong, especially if the combo is like is quite cheap. If you can get there with like if you need like a sack outlet and a persist creature, something like that, this can get you 2 parts of that. That's pretty strong. Combo card is where I'm guessing this is going to see the most play. All right. Well, hello. You're very colourful and Wooburg. Call of the Spirit Dragons is a Wooburg for enchantment. Dragons you control have indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, for each colour, put a +1 counter on a dragon you control of that colour. If you put a +1 counter on 5 dragons this way, you win the game. So I'm assuming you can't just put it on the dragon and win the game, basically. Yeah, I'm guessing it's 5 different dragons. This is cool. It's very big and splashy. I don't think dragon decks really need the help in terms of alt win cons, because kind of if you're at a point where you're putting 5 counters on 5 different dragons, that means you have 5 dragons of different colours. Just win the game with the dragons. Like, I don't know if you've read... if you've read Ultrava Hellkite recently. But just have this in play, have this be one of the dragons you've got into play, and you'll generally be... Have this and 4 other dragons, and you'll generally be fine. Cool card, vibey. If you're in a Dragon's deck, give it a go, but I'm guessing you might not need it, especially with the range of other dragons. So someone in our group chat mentioned that kind of like if you're doing the Aura from Changelings deck, Changelings will be dragons, so it's an alt win con for that. That's quite funny. Let's keep it going though. Vanisher Kirin, 1 on a white, flash flying. When it enters, move up to 1 Titan on permanent you control from its owner's hand. Fine card. There's a bunch of this kind of stuff. I'm not super blown away by that. Locks on Battle Priest, begin combat on your turn, plus counter on another target creature you control. Fine limited card, not there for 5 mana. Cory Steel Cutter, 1 on a red. Artifact Equipment, 1 on a red. Equip creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and haste, which is fine. Flurry, when you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature dragon with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. In that, so if you've missed us talking about before, these monks with prowess are really strong. Like they are really very strong, especially in those type of decks. And this artifact or this equipment will importantly trigger prowess. So if you go turn 1 Monetary Mentor, turn 2 this, you will it will trigger prowess. That's pretty solid. I'm not sure how many non-creature, non-instant sorceries those decks want. But if you're going to run one, this seems pretty good. Yeah, those monks really will kill people. The equip cost is the equip cost is cheap enough. Actually, no, sorry. Yeah, it is mainly going to be just going on the token with prowess and rumbling in. It's letting you go opt, burn spell, something like that in a 1-on-1 format. Go opt, burn spell, make a monk, equip, swing for 2. That's pretty good. Especially as in theory, this has been this is just the opt tribal deck has got so much better because of Jesco from this set. Yeah. In that type of build, this seems wrong. If you're just casting multiple 1-mana spells again and again. Alright, so that was cards from yesterday. Let's do the weekend and let's do Friday. There aren't as many. This card seems spice. A very vibey card. Rot Curse Rakasha. 1 and a black for a creature demon with trample and decayed. That means that when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat and it can't block. It is also a 5/5. So 2 mana 5/5. Pretty good. We can agree those stats are strong, but yeah, the decayed means that it's not going to block and you only get 1 swing with it. But what do you get more from that? Renew X black. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a decayed counter on each of X target creatures. Activate only as a sorcery. So, this is a kind of... This is a really, really strong card. Basically, that X black will give them all... It gives them all decayed, which importantly means they can't block. So, if you do that in Commander, just dump all your mana into this late game, it means that your opponent's creatures can't block. So you might just do this, swing out, and kill them. Like, if you're worrying about combat math, or you're worrying about blockers, this just effectively makes the whole board unblockable. And then it also means that if they only ever get one more attack in with them. So if you're kind of in a slugging match with your opponent, you know you can just like get this in. And the fact that this is guaranteed to go to the graveyard, it's a 2-mana 5/5, so you can be very mana efficient, play this on like turn 6 or 7. If they kill it, cool, you can use this ability. If you mill it, cool, you can use this ability. If you just play it and attack with it, it'll die after combat, go to the graveyard, and then next turn you can do this. This seems strong. Like it's definitely in a deck which cares about attacking. Like this isn't just going to go in any random graveyard deck. Like, it does feel like a deck which is winning through combat damage and winning through attacking with multiple creatures, I guess. But this seems very vibey. I am here for this card. I think this is cool. I have no idea if it can make it splash in standard. I can see myself testing this in cube just because black creatures are like we are getting there. But like, what other 2s am I running in my cube? Brain Maggot, Caustic Bronco, Dark Confident, Dotty Voidworker, Emperor. Okay. These guys are all actually quite good. Pack Rat, Putrid Goblin, Razorless Transmogrant, and Triarch Praetorian. So the last 2 I'm running because they're artifacts. And Putrid Goblin's a combo card. But like any of these 3, if I just wanted to upgrade them to just be a good Magic card, I could see myself running Rock Curse Rakasha. Or Rock Curse Raksha. I wonder how this would be in a self-mill deck, actually. Just have it as a win con for a self-mill deck. Just put a bunch of stuff into my graveyard and then use this to stop my opponent's board. It is like a slow board wipe. As long as you can survive their one swing, then you know you're golden. Very interesting card. Haven't seen that type of effect before. Also, this might be the only Decayed we've seen in the set as well. It's on a Mythic, and yeah, that seems... I'm here for it. Alright, let's move back to Saturday. Naga Flesh Crafter, 3 and a blue for a creature snake shapeshifter. I'm guessing this is going to be the clone from the set. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. It is the clone from the set. Love that. And renew, 2 and a blue. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a counter on target non-legendary creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. That's vibey. So 4-mana clone is par for the course. Like, this won't get into the upper echelons of clones just because Phantasmal Image exists, just because Phyrexian Metamorph exists, which is 3 mana. There's a bunch of other ones. There's one that's a land as well, which is pretty strong. Those are kind of like the upper echelons. Then you kind of you very much have every other card below that. But this is just a single blue. So it's very easy on the splash. We like that. That means this is better than the ones which have double blue in their color identity. And this part is your bog standard clone effect, and then this is some spikes for maybe a self-mill deck, maybe just it dies in combat and you get to do it again. I do like this. Seems like a fun ability. So you exile this, put a counter on target non-legendary control, and then each other, just turning your whole board into your best creature. Seems pretty fun. The thing with Commander is obviously this is non-legendary, so you don't just wipe your own board by accident. I'm assuming they've done that actually for Arena, just so you don't wipe your whole board by accident. That seems like a safety net. If this was 10 years ago, that would just be... If you happen to select your own creature, like your own Commander, good, you just wiped your own board. But this is kind of a... I'm not going to say idiot-proof, but it's just making sure that that doesn't happen. But just... I could think of a bunch of cool creatures that I would want my board state to be. Like, actually, this one also might get into my like treat yourself cube because like there aren't as many legendary creatures in that, but just turning all my board into one creature does seem very treat myself-y. Like, what am I? Like Grave Titan? Turn my whole board into Grave Titans, turn my whole board into Rampaging Baloths. Yeah, Rampaging Baloths, make a bunch of tokens, turn all my board into Rampaging Baloths, and then play a fetch land. That seems like a way of winning. Securiton Squadron, another awesome card that... You would need a token afterwards, but... Yeah, okay, there's plenty of stuff. Kessage Cage Breakers? Ooh! Now we're gaming. Turn your whole board into Kessage Cage Breakers. Okay. All your board being Terror of the Peaks seems good. And then play a creature and win. Okay, I'm liking Naga Fleshcrafter. This is one I'm going to have to keep an eye on. This one seems fun. Actually, let's have a quick look at this one. Feral Deathgorger, 6 mana, 3/5, Flying Death Touch. When it enters, exile up to 2 cards from a single graveyard, so nice bit of graveyard hate. 1 black Sorcery Omen, put up some count on target creature you control. On target creature, draw a card. Yeah, play it in your Pauper Cube. Like, again, this is not as good as... what do you call it? Where's the... What's a 2-mana card draw spell? This is not as good as Night's Whisper. Okay, you only get 1 card. You don't get the life loss. But you get a dragon as well when you need a dragon. I think that's really good. We like that. Alright, so we're going back to Friday. We'll quickly go through these before we get to the commander ones. Herd Heirloom? Heirloom? I don't know why I said it that way. 1 and a green artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this to only cast a creature spell. Until end of turn, or tap, and until end of turn, target creature you control gains with power 4 or greater against trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is fine, but if you are in literally the big, like in the Teamer deck, if you're doing the Teamer thing in Commander and you open one of these, then sure, run it. Like, you want this to be, like you don't want any big kind of instant or sorceries or artifacts in your deck. You need to be, this needs to be a bunch of big creatures. I'm not as much of a fan of running stuff that doesn't just, I want my ramp to be consistent. I want my ramp to get me to the next slot of mana. So with this, you play it on turn 2, and then you can cast a 1-drop then. Or realistically, on turn 3, you're casting a 4-drop with this. If all my 4-drops I know are creatures, then this is fine. If I'm doing anything else, I'm less of a fan of this. Because this is in theory your upside for the downside of playing a 2-drop that can only ramp you for creatures. Yeah, Teamer Beef, you'll know what kind of deck this goes into. Alright. Ooh, Rebellious Strike. So, we've mentioned the Feather deck and all the kind of decks that want cheap instant and sorceries that draw us cards. If you're doing anything Jeskai in this set, you need to be drafting these aggressively, would be my guess. Because it's an instant that replaces itself. To an extent, whatever this is in the middle, you don't care. It's an instant that draws you, hopefully, into another instant. Yeah, it's fine combat trick. Seems good. It's going to be a high pick for those decks. I don't think we spoke about this one. Hello, Merc Siege. Golgari mana for an enchantment. As this enchantment enters, choose Sultai or Abzan. Sultai, whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. And Abzan, whenever you attack, puts on counter on target attacking creature, it gains menace until end of turn. I don't like this card. For the Sultai one of the cycle, I am whelmed. No, I'm underwhelmed. I don't know what I would want from this. So this feels more... I don't think you're going to play this in any Sultai deck. This feels way more just like an Abzan card. Abzan cares more about +1/+1 counters. That's where you're running this. This is a +1/+1 counter card. It's either a card that makes you counters, or it's a card that rewards you for putting counters on stuff. In those decks, that will be good. That will be decent because those decks, like when we talked about the Jeskai deck before, you need an amount of instant or sorceries to trigger all your stuff that cares about you casting instant or sorceries. In a +1/+1 counter deck, this does both parts of it. This is a card that puts counters on stuff, which you need in a plus 1 counters deck, and it's a card that rewards you for putting counters on stuff. So it's a nice little crossover in those decks, but this is not a Sultai card. Don't joke with me like that. Alright. Flamehold Grappler. It is a Jeskai for a 3/3 first strike. Oh, so this is like our Siege Rhino, Mantis Rider, Savage Knuckleblade card of the set. For Jeskai anyway. So it's first strike. When it enters, copy the next spell you may... When it enters, copy the next spell you cast this turn when you cast it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Like, we can all picture, like, the best case scenario for this card, where Flamehold Grappler, Time Walk, Ancestral. Great, perfect. You're doubling. You are playing a bad card, or yeah. I don't think this is a good card. You are playing a bad card to make your good card better. That is kind of a mistake. There's a bunch of these effects that aren't in 3 colors. Like, this is probably the best body, but yeah, like, Dualcaster Mage comes to mind, and that card combos with a bunch of stuff. Obviously, I can't spell Dualcaster Mage. Here you go. 3 mana, 2/2. When it enters, battlefield copy. So so with this, you have to cast this, and then cast an instant or sorcery. With this, you cast your instant or sorcery. You can see if it's resolving, and then cast this. Can you see if it's resolving? Ignore that comment. But this already exists and is a combo card. This exists, and I don't think combos. There might be a way of. No, it's only this turn as well. So the fact you really have to, like, I don't like this card. I don't think it's strong enough. Like, obviously, in, like, if you're doing big spells, cool, but you have to cast this 3 mana card to then double up your spells. Like, this is not as good as, like, Double Vision, even though it's more mana, or Arcane Bombardment, because you can play that, and then the next turn, put all your mana into your big, like, extra turn spells, or your big, where are we? Like, or your ultimatums, that kind of stuff. This doesn't really fit in that, because it's 3 mana, and it's quite hard to, like, maybe in Standard, we're just doing this 2 mana burn spell, get 2 copies of that, win a game that way. This is your top end, maybe? I think there's better things we can do. I am, yeah, underwhelmed by that card. Right, what's fun and vibey? There's a cycle of these we'll probably look at some point later. Avenger of the Fallen. Let's load up you. Let's load up rares. Maybe there's more on Friday than I thought there were. Oh, this is a good card. Alright. Snakeskin Veil reprint. Lovely to see that. Tersa. Talked about that yesterday. Or thing I definitely saw that card for that. Okay, apparently there was more on Friday than we thought. So let's go through these and then we'll get onto the Soul-type deck. Was there really all this amount on Friday? Did I just not pay attention? I guess I didn't pay attention. I took Friday off. Alright, so we'll go through these. Jesus, it's quite a lot, actually. Oh well. And then we'll get onto the commander deck. Avenger of the Fallen. 2 in a black. 2 in a black creature, human warrior. Death touch, mobilize X's number of creatures in your graveyard. That is a magic card. Jesus. Like, so everything's a bloody Rabble Master in this set. This card seems pretty good. Like, this isn't a card that's good on turn 3. This is a card that's good on turn, like, 5 or 6 when you're in your graveyard deck and you've done your game plan of self-milling. This will... Yeah, damn, that's pretty good. Number of creature cards in your graveyard. Like, if you're in Commander, this could easily be, like, 20. It doesn't have haste, which... So people will see this coming. But if you're playing this later in the game, for me, this isn't a 3-drop. If you're playing this on turn 3, it's because you need a Death Toucher to block their best creature, that kind of stuff, if they've got their own Rebel Master. It does block Rebel Master quite well, actually, which is kind of funny. Jesus, this is actually really strong. And yeah, if you are just doing like a Black X aggressive-y aristocratic stuff where you're sacking your creatures, this will make you a bunch more. Jeez, just this with a Blood Artist and just any kind of, and like with like 2 or 3 creatures in your graveyard. That's scary. Okay, this is this is the kind of card that can make black aggro good again. Yathan Road Watcher, 1 Abzan. When it enters, if you cast it, mill 4 cards. When you do, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so this is our Siege Runner for the set. This is fine value. The fact that it's a cast trigger means that there isn't really any combo with it. It's just a fine card. I don't care about this. I am very underwhelmed by this one. They are very much playing it safe. Middling card. Probably fine in Abzan as a utility card in Commander, but there's a bunch of other stuff you can run. Just run Eternal Witness, kids. That's much better. So this one I did see and want to talk about, because this is a fantastic card. 6 mana, 5/4 flyer. When it enters, you gain 5 life. Or Charring Bite. 1 and a red for an omen. Deals 5 damage to target creature without flying. That's really good. That is a real removal spell. Like, the flying will come up every so often, but this is just going to be a fantastic answer to anything. And then you get a dragon if you draw it on turn 6. Like this is like the perfect control card. I can see like this card making control, like Jeskai control, being a thing in Standard, just because that is incredibly good. And then great, control decks love not running win cons. Like, I've seen control decks where like Celestial Colonnade is your win con. Your lands win you the games. In this, your removal spell is winning you the game. That's really good. Just imagine the Jeskai deck that is all card draw, counter magic, and burn spells, but running 4 of these is the way of winning the game. You answer everything your opponent is doing, and then you play this eventually to win the game. Very strong. Tersalite Shatter. Haste, when it enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards, and when it attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, exile a card at random from your graveyard, you may play that card this turn. This is going to struggle to get into cubes, just because of Rabble Masters existing, and like 3-drop in red is one of the hardest slots to get into, because it's competing against Bombardiers, Detective Phoenix, Rabble Master, Gut, Krenko, and Squee. Like, I think it's better than Krenko. You still have to cast the card as well, so that is one thing. Yeah, this is tricky because it is eating your graveyard. It might not be in the Tarmogoyfi style of deck, but it's still good. Yeah, it's still a good card, giving you that exile. I think I like it. I'm just not sure where it goes is the issue. We added it into the cube we're building at the moment because it does do the thing of letting it. There are decks that care about casting cards from exile, and this is one of those. So this with Lelia and Inti is pretty good. Alright, Death Begets Life, 5 and a Sultai, sorcery, destroy all creatures and enchantments, draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way. Are you Sultai? Are you a control deck? Are you a slower deck that can get to 8 mana? Good, here's your board wipe. Ooh, also added to that, does your playgroup hate Villainous Wealth? And hate it when you Villainous Wealth them? If that is the case, then run Death Begets Life, otherwise these colours have other board wipes that are cheaper. But a fine card though. Perenniation, return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a hexproof counter on it. Hexproof and indestructible counter on it. Oh, we have seen this one before already. We have done this one. Solid card, big Abzan spell. Alright. New way forward. 2 in a Jeskai. The next time a source of a choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. Oh, we have done this one as well. Bad Fog, don't run it. Kishlana Skimmer. What do you call it? What is it? Simic. Flyer, when a card leaves your graveyard during your turn, draw a card. This ability triggers only on she's turn. So this is, if you're doing Insidious Roots in your Pauper Cube, or in your Peasant Cube, there's a bunch of these effects now. There's a decent amount of them are uncommon. this. So this and Sir Conrad the Grim. Seems pretty good. Bunch of dredgers. We like that. Draw your card. This with a dredger and a discard outlet, and you're gaming a little bit. You only do it once a turn, but it is an uncommon. You can't have everything. 2-mana flyer. Seems solid. Glacier Wood. We've done that one. Good. We're cracking through this. I think we've done this one as well. When you look at the top side of the library, you reveal an instant sort of dragon card from among them. Put them in. Not a great card. Let's skip it. All right. Deafening Dragon, 2 and a white, creature dragon, flying, activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers can't be activated. So this is one of the cards my wife is most excited about because she is a stompy gamer in Legacy and Vintage, and it has Ancient Tomb mana, etc., etc. So she's excited by this one. I can see it being very good there. This doesn't seem like one for Commander. This is very much a constructed card. This Mythic is for constructed. I don't think I want this in any of my cubes, just because it's kind of sideboardy, and I don't want that. Also my mentality for cube is I don't really run too many things that shut down players' things. I'd rather my opponents do better things. So rather than stopping your opponent, do something better than them. If that makes sense. Like there's a touch of a stacks thing. So I am running. Am I running anything that specifically? So Elite Spellbinder, in theory, would go into this kind of deck. But I don't think, I'm not running any of the other... Am I even running Thalia anymore? Well, I've cut Thalia. So I've really kind of gone away from the stack stuff in my cube. This is where that would be good. If you're doing it in cube. But yeah, this seems one for formats where you're trying to cast this on turn 1. If you can cast this on turn 1, very good magic card. You could just turn off whole decks with this. So that's pretty good. All right, marvelous. So we got those. I think we got all these out the way. It was just the different artwork. That's what threw us off. So we reviewed this and this, the different artwork. Right, let's do Commander because Sultai baby. There was some spice. You're a good card. You're a great card. Ooh. Assuming you. Yeah, the Sultai deck had some spice. Shocking to no one. I liked it. Alright, couple of cards, 15 or so minutes. Let's crack on. Afterlife from the Loam. It is 5 black for a sorcery with Delve. So the Delve lets you exile cards from your graveyard, reducing its cost by 1. Very good mechanic. Haven't seen it. I've not seen it at all in the main set because it's kind of a bit too broken. But in Commander, it seems like the perfect place for it. For each player, choose up to 1 target creature card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. They're zombies in addition to their other types. So they don't have finality counters. So they can go back to their graveyards when they die. We like that. That is good. Yeah, it's a big Commander reanimate spell. This is good in multiplayer. I don't want this in 1-on-1 formats because I don't want to spend this amount of mana. Trips black plus exiling some good stuff in my graveyard to get back 2 things. No. We want to be getting 4 things back with this. And in Commander, realistically, we'll get 2 good creatures and 2 middling creatures, 2 4-drops. Good for Commander. Good for the Sultai decks. Don't know where else it will go. Colossal Grave Reaver. My boy. 6 black and a green for a creature dragon with flying. It is a 7/6. When it enters or attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put 1 of them onto the battlefield. I love this. So the top line does work with the bottom line. So any type of milling, any cards with the word mill will trigger this, including dredge. That is phenomenal. In most formats, where dredge is really good, you don't care about You're not playing an 8-drop and then furthering your game plan. In theory, you should be winning by that point. This is not going to be one for Legacy or Vintage, and probably not most cubes. I am tempted to try this because in my Treat Yourself cube, the Sultai deck has got a lot from this set because the Sultai command deck is doing what this deck wants, and it's graveyard shenanigans. Put a bunch of things into your graveyard, move them around zones, and profit. So Sidisi mills. makes you zombies while you're milling. Insidious Roots, you move stuff back from your graveyard with dredgers. Makes you some plant tokens, and Cage Breakers just kills your opponent. This kind of does a bit of all that. Like, it also goes in my Treat Yourself cube very well, because it is a thing of just like, it's a big thing you're reanimating, but you're not winning the game straight away. That's how most of my reanimate targets are in that cube. Why are you $20 already? Boo! I don't think I'm going to buy the precon just because I actually bought the SpongeBob Secret Lair yesterday to build the Smash Bros deck. So maybe I don't buy the commander set for this. Maybe this is a proxy, or hopefully it gets cheaper. But I do like this card. I think this card's dumb. Diviner of Mist. I don't think we've done you yet. 4 and a blue. When it attacks, mill 4 cards and we cast instant sorcery from your over mana value 4 or less. That paying its mana cost. The spell we put into go this way. Exile it. This one's probably from the Jeskai deck. We might have looked at this one, but seems like a fine card. The 4 or less part means I probably don't care about this card, if I'm being honest, because we have things. It's very fair, is the issue with this. Like, yes, it's a 5 mana 4/5 flyer at a base level, but that is very fair. If I'm doing it, I'm doing Scholar of the Lost Trove. That seems better. Like, this will let you cast any instant sorcery. Hello, where have you been? We've been live. You missed the start. You missed the whole show. Meow. She was outside running around, weren't you? Yes, you were, darling. Come to Pappy, please. Hello, darling. Hello. Oh, you smell of outside. Very nice. But yeah, Divine on this is fine, but I'm not blown away by it. Just the mana value 4 or less, it just means it's way too fair. Obviously going to be good in Powered Cube, where you can cast pretty broken instant sorceries, but most places I'm not a massive fan of this card. Actually, it's repeatable. I should have noticed that part. It's repeatable. Okay, if you can do this and cast like a burn spell and a card draw spell with this, then it's probably fine. It's probably a fine magic card. Actually, yeah, it's attack. That means I should probably try it in this. Alright, there's another one for the Treat Yourself cube. It's getting expensive for me. Floral Invoker, 2 and a green creature snake druid with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters plus 1 counter on this creature. So it's just this creature. It's not as good as Bristly Bill. Few cards are, apart from Cubby Wubby. But it has a single green. Discard a creature card. Return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This card is everything to me. Again, because I'm a fiend who will run. I just think about dredgy things. So the main thing with dredge that you need is ways of getting it back into the graveyard. Good morning, Jason. Yes, perfect in time for seeing the Peachy. For seeing the small cat. Yes, but yeah, being able to discard a creature card is great with cards that keep coming back to your hand from the graveyard, like dredges, for example. Like, this is not a downside. This is all upside for me. I am reading this as nothing but positives. And then returning land card from your graveyard to battle tap is great in those self-mill decks, because I'm seeing this as you're using dredges to refill up your graveyard. And then this one thing with dredging that really kind of sucks is you do tend to not hit your land drops as much because you're replacing your draws with dredges. This undoes that. It really does fix the downside. I don't know how strong this is in terms of like Cube or like Canadian Highlander, like that kind of stuff. But just specifically for like Commander, where you're just doing graveyardy shenanigans, this seems really strong. This seems really good. Yeah, I really like. I like this card. It fills things that those decks want to do really well. All right, Tevil's Judgment. 2 and a black. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Draw a card, create a treasure token, or create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Okay, so we have another. Please don't be 15 quid. That is obscene. We have another Insidious Roots. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, they just print so many of these recently. Like, it's effectively in the last 12 months. the Insidious Roots stuff leaving graveyard deck has just become a thing. Like, what's a bunch of cards? I literally added some cards to my Treat Yourself cube specifically for this archetype. Where are we? I think you're 4 mana. Yeah, Skeleton Crew does it whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard. There's just so many of these now that it really is an archetype. Obviously, the Sultai Commander does it as well, but this is just really... This is the first kind of Insidious Roots that like they've all generally just made as tokens up till now. And this does that. Like a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token is a real creature. That is a real body. But a treasure is real too, and so is drawing a card. Like, it draws you a card. Just in your Insidious Roots deck, this is everything. Yeah, Insidious Roots is one of the most improved cards from this set. This card's great. I'm going to be testing it in my Treat Yourself cube, and... Oh no, hold on, I am buying this, the Sultai Precon, because I want the Sultai Commander. Okay, I am buying it. Yeah, this card seems great. Yeah, like this is the face commander from the set. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. No, darling, come back. Yeah, this is everything. Okay, love this. All right, we have a couple more before we finish up for today. Steward of the Harvest, 3 and a green creature human druid. When it attacks... when it enters, exile up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard. Creatures you control have all activated abilities of all land cards exiled with this creature. Interesting. So, what's the best thing we can do with this? There must be infinite mana. There must be a land that untaps a creature. Let's have a look for that. Because if there's that, you just any land that taps for 2 mana, untap. Creature. We're looking for something that's just untapped. Untap target Griffin. Okay. We're getting somewhere. There must be a card that just untaps a creature. Is there not? Tap an untap creature. We want untap a tapped creature. Maybe there isn't. Maybe they have thought about this. So we need to make it a Griffin first for this to work. Okay, not the end of the world. So we make Steward of the Harvest a Griffin with this, and then we have... No, that doesn't work either. Okay. There will be something we can do with this. We don't have time this morning to work it out. But obviously, cards that make more mana when they... like, obviously, putting a Gaia's Cradle exiled under this is great. Any really busted utility land that... I think that they can do some cool stuff. There is a world where I'm not happy exiling my Gaia's Cradle just to have this creature removed, because then I won't have access to it. Like, I'm probably missing something with this card, but if all this is doing is just getting a Gaia's Cradle from your bin or putting like a cool land that makes a bunch of mana under it, so this taps for a bunch of mana, I don't like that. If I'm honest with you, just because this dies really easily to everything. Oh, sorry, it's creatures you control have all activated abilities. Okay, that's stupid, actually. Okay, that makes you an obscene amount of mana. I missed the... It's not just this creature, it's all creatures. That's kind of obscene, actually. Okay, so even if you just exile, like, a forest, all your creatures tap for green, then? Alright. That's really good. Or just with with bounce lands, having them tap for 2 mana. Okay, I'm more on board with this. Okay, there's some dumb stuff we can do with this. Because this activated ability is not triggered, so you don't get, like, Field of the Dead stuff. Okay, this is a very strong card with a very high upside. We need to spend more time thinking about this card to see what the most broken things we can do with it are, but... Yeah, you want to be exiling a land that taps for more than 1, because just making Llanowar Elves is not great, but making, like, double Llanowar Elves, wow. Or even actually, like, just Command Tower, fixing all your colours is pretty good. Okay. Alright, fine. This is a good card. Alright, Welcome the Dead. 3 and a black, sorcery, draw 2 cards, then discard a card, and you lose 2 life. Okay, fine start. Create X tapped... 2/2 black zombie druid creature tokens will exit the number of cards that were put into your graveyard from your hand or library this turn. Meow. Flashback 5 and a black. So this will. This needs to be in a deck that's doing other milling. I don't think as a self-contained card it's good enough, because in theory you're discarding a card and 4 mana, draw 2 cards, discard a card, lose 2 life, make 1 zombie is not where we're at in 2025. Hello, come on, come back then. Meow. 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 Sorry, I'm just chatting with the cat. One moment. Come on. No. No. Come on, darling. Come on. Yes, good. Yes. So, yeah. This on its own, it does do a lot of stuff. It does move stuff about, but yeah, I want to be doing. This can't be the only card I've discarded this turn. There needs to be, or milled this turn. There needs to be something else. If you're doing, like, if you're in that kind of deck, then this comes better. Like if I'm making 3 or 4 tokens from this, I like this a lot more. But otherwise, yeah, you're not going to put this card as. This isn't a value card in a non-mill deck. This is a mill card, and a mill card only, and in there it's good. All right, last card of the day. Well of the Sultai, 4 and a green, sorcery, choose 1. If you control your commander, as you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. Target player mills 3 cards, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That is great. Put X+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of lands you control against trample until end of turn. Okay, I really do like... In any kind, like so there are decks that exist that just want this ability. That effectively this is their win con. Just mill all your cards, play some landfall creatures, play an Avenger of Zendikar, and then do this and then win. Like that is your big thing that you've done to win the game. But the fact that it's on a card with this as well, like you get this one as well. Like it's there is a creature that does this, which I think I like more, just because creatures are easier to get back. The one thing with the self-mill decks is that you will mill this at some point. This can't be your only win con, because you will just mill this into the bin and then you don't have access to it anymore. Creatures are easier to get back, but like pre-con level or just upgraded pre-con level, this is fine. I think there is maybe 1 or 2 more efficient ways of doing this that I think I like more. Like, is there an uncommon that does it? Do we have that in here? We might not. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, this card. Aftermath Analyst. Enters mill 3, 3 and a green, sacrifice it, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I think I like this more. Like, this is uncommon as well, and is $3. In Commander, where you're going bigger and you want this ability as well, then I think I like it. Like this can just kill someone as well. Like, if you're doing the Wonder, make your Commander big style thing. Oh, you're going again. Why are you taunting me like that, darling? But yeah, strong card. Should be fun. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. All right, we made it, everyone. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all very much for being here. We'll be back tomorrow, probably with some more spoilers. I guess it depends how many they preview today. We are coming to an end of spoiler season just because, I mean, the set's fully spoiled by Friday. Yes, I know, by Friday. Am I right? But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, and we'll catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.